I'm just gonna wait until... Okay, yeah, so it looks like we're back now.
Cool.
Hi everybody. Sorry, I think OBS crapped out. So, hello, welcome back. I don't know what we lost. So I'm going to go back a little bit. Uh, I'm gonna say that I got the message, I think, when I was describing the village. So I'm gonna start from there. If there's anything that was missed out, let me know, and I will try to um, just say them. So, uh, you all approach the village, and it looks like the village, like, mostly, like, it's been overgrown with whatever local wildlife and shrubbery and trees and whatever is there, and any roofs that were made out of, like, hay or things that decompose really easily or rot easily are, like, either caved in or completely gone altogether. Um, so I'm just gonna quickly check whether uh, I chat. No, you all are still in chat, so yeah.
Yeah, we're
Okay. I keep hearing things and I'm just like, oh my god.
I heard a dong, so I was like, what is that?
Yeah, what's the dong?
yeah. I also heard that last thing, but I don't know what it was.
I think I got disconnected, but then I quickly re-signed into the voice channel.
Okay.
I think that's what that was.
Okay. Yes, so, it looks like it's not been there for about 10 or like 20 years. And it also seems like there was like some sort of major event that happened in the center of this village. Like the village, the center seems to be empty, like no houses or anything of that sort, because that seems to be the public square of the village. And of course, there's a big house on one side, which would denote either where the leading family would be, or where the local panchayat, which is sort of like a council of elders, would be. And it's not so much a house as a, I guess, community building of sort. And it's just bigger than all the other houses that are there. And as you approach, your senses are definitely tingling. And before we get into what you are spending and what information you get, I'm also going to say that there's no graveyard over here. However, there is a lot of... There's a lot there. It looks like there was like a bunch of like hard wood tables or some sort of tables that were set up for some sort of a feast. And the food definitely no longer is there, but like the clay, the things that were a little heavier that wouldn't just fly off the wind or break or whatever, those are still there, so it looks like food was made. There's the metal, big, like for feasts essentially, the big metal karais or like woks essentially, and pots are there, but they're mostly rusted, or there's like all sorts of debris filled in it now. But there's like traces of oil and other things, like there was cooked food in there. And there is skeletons strewn around in positions that would denote some sort of a community gathering.
That's extremely worrying. Okay.
Yeah, and one more detail is you see your cat friend over one particular body, just sitting there almost in a sad, bowing down position.
If you don't, like, kind of, Rahim, like, trods over to him and kneels. He's still a cat, and Rahim is 7 feet tall, so he kneels pretty low. It's he's still pretty massive, kneeling down next to this cat, and kind of has to like arc his back over so that his head's in still a little too high. So if you don't mind me asking, who was this?
And there's just a very sad
I'm not sure what I expected.
but turns basically morphs into a man just crying and wailing and just sits cross-legged for a moment.
Okay. Jauntily goes up to the wailing cat uncle, who's no longer a cat, and wordlessly, well, actually, she places a wrapped hand on his shoulder and says, It's gonna be okay. Are there spirits at rest? Like, can I I'm trying to do two things. First, I'm trying to use relieve, which is something I can do. I say something comforting to a nearby creature, alleviating them of anxiety, pain, and discomfort for 1 hour. In this state, the creature cannot be affected by fear or confusion, and for a brief time, they feel better than they have ever felt before. This spell has an addictive effect. If you cast it more than 3 times on the same creature, they will obsessively seek it out. So I'm going to expend an AP to do that.
Okay.
First.
So I'm going to say that it does affect, but in terms of no longer sort of a very extreme emotion and a lot more calm, but still very much grief-stricken.
That's fine. Yeah, just no longer super, super big.
Yeah.
Johnson's just trying to make him feel better. Places a hand, and then I'm gonna finally expend that AP in Death Sense to see the location of the spirit creatures. How many? I'm actually not sure if it tells me how many, but it says whether or not any sentient creatures have died nearby, which, judging by the skeletons,
and how long ago they died.
Yes, how long ago they died, where they died, and the general nature of their death.
They all died in the general locations of where all these skeletons are available.
Okay.
And yes, they did die nearby, and they died about 25 years ago.
Okay.
And they all died from poisonous food.
Okay.
Ooh.
Am I feeling foul play? Was this an
Yeah, sorry,
accident?
I guess I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, it's actually it's a combination of accident and foul play.
Interesting.
Huh.
That's unusual.
They
Okay.
literally murdered the entire village? That's pretty hardcore. Or, yeah, that's, I could see why he's grief-stricken about this.
Okay. I'm also going to. This is sort of John Sully's thing. She's a necromancer. Death is her thing. So she is after sensing this. She's gonna raise her hand from Cat Uncle's shoulder, sort of reel back a little, look at the rest of her party, and go, something is very, very wrong here. And then she's going to try to commune with the dead. So if you are aware of one or more spectral creatures nearby, ghosts, I don't know if spirit creatures fit into this. I think it's up to, I don't know if their ghosts are still here or if any of them are available to communicate with, if this would work at all.
Yeah. So you get the presence of just one spirit nearby.
Okay. So you may have a conversation with the spirit or spirits for up to 1 minute, and you communicate with them telepathically. You must share a language to understand each other, and spirits must want to respond. If they choose not to speak to you, your adventure point is refunded.
Okay. So, here's the interesting thing, though, is that languages are not quite or at least it's as far as I can read in the rules, are not really things that are decided. So, the area that you're in is in Sabtab. And you might be able to know some Saptabi, but it would be actually really hard unless any of you know the language, and that's something we haven't quite decided, and maybe we should.
So, I have Cosmopolitan, which kind of lets me know stuff from basically anywhere we go. And language isn't, I think, in the rules as written right up of it, but considering like the nature of the setting, I think it might fit.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, you could use Cosmopolitan to get by.
I'm not sure
Alright.
if the creature can communicate with anyone other than John Slee telepathically.
Yeah, here's the interesting question. What happens if the person who
So
can communicate
the creature tells you a thing, you tell Rahim.
I'm gonna try to like say what it says.
You.
Great, that's a great
Okay,
idea.
so
I love
then what I'm gonna do
So it's a bad game of
is-
telephone. Got it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we're gonna play telephone, and with telephone, I'm going to I'm gonna have each of you roll a d20 to see gently. You're rolling the d20 to see how well you're able to essentially
Mimic what they're
mimic
saying.
and repeat back.
Okay.
And then Rahim, I'm gonna have you roll a d20 to see how well you are able to understand and translate.
Okay, here we go. I got a 16.
I got a 7.
Okay. Come on, Ryan.
So
Johnson's doing her best.
here's the
think he was
thing:
out of
you mimic
out of
it
call?
perfectly, and you get a tough choice, which
Yeah.
means, okay. Here's the thing: you either what would be a tough choice here? I feel like it would be something on the lines of you can either be truthful about what is being said, and it's somewhat like it's successful, but it's not a direct translation, or you can take creative license with it.
Of course I'm taking creative license with it.
Great. So, what is this game of telephone sound? Johnson's gonna try to like reach out telepathically and just say in like the language she speaks. I don't
Yeah.
know why she would speak more than one. She's pretty much stayed in the same region her whole life.
Well, you'd know the language of Taktabad, which would be
Yes.
which would be one of like 2 or 3 languages that are commonly used since it borders with a couple. So that would be I have yet to make the map, but I know which places it borders with, which would be either Shabad, Registan, or Sabtab, one of the 3.
Cool. So she's gonna try like reaching out to the spirit and just say in like all the languages she knows, like, "Hello, can you hear me? Are you there?"
Yeah, Rahim's like, hello, I am Junsley of what's the place we were just from?
Taktabad. Yeah.
Akhtabad. Is anyone there? And he's translating, but you know, he's editorializing a lot.
Like, okay, John Slee sort of looks at Rahim sideways and repeats pretty much word for word, pretty much perfectly mirroring, like in her head, like to the spirit creature, what
Yeah.
Rahim is making her.
And you kind of see a silhouette. It's not very clear. It seems to be only when you focus on Commune of the Dead does she take some form. And oh no, we lost.
What did we just lose?
We lost your
What?
cam.
How did we lose my camera?
Are you on a mobile device and you switched applications?
No, I don't know how that would have happened. Let's see.
You're back.
There we go.
You're back.
Yep.
Yay.
All right.
Yay.
I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah, and she sort of looks very sadly at Cat Uncle and says, "You shouldn't have come."
Okay. John Silly repeats what she says out loud to Rahim.
I think Rahim translates that one faithfully.
Okay. John Silly says, "I want to say to her, why? Are we in danger? Can you help me translate that, Rahim?"
Why? He goes like, "Why is something wrong?" Yeah, why? Let's see. What happened here?
Okay. John Silly says that.
Okay. And before we get to the answer, Gojin, did you catch most of the description and what's going on, and is there anything you're doing while this conversation's happening, or before this conversation's happening?
No, he's just watching everything with rather dispassionate expression.
Okay. And what happened here? And says, love died here.
Okay. John Silly repeats that pretty much perfectly to Rahim and says, "What does she say? What does that mean?"
I think he translates that one faithfully.
Love died here? A lot more than just love died here. She sort of gestures at all the skeletal corpses and says, Can you ask her, or tell me how to ask her, if she knew who or what killed them? I'm sensing some kind of accident, but there was also some malicious intent here. Does she know anything about that?"
Who killed you and how?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, my family, they didn't want me being with him. This was my wedding feast to someone else.
Who is he? Or like, yeah, he translates and then just kind of goes, who is he?
And she says, my love Ranja, and stares at the wailing Uncle Cat.
Are you a Lohari?
And she says, no, I am here.
And I think he starts translating faithfully again for a bit, rather than just editorializing.
Mm-hmm.
So just...
John Silly, I'm assuming this has been a minute-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. John
But
Silly goes,
before the minute is up, she says, tell him he needs to move on.
oh. Okay. And then John Silly goes, Damn it, I can't sense her anymore. She's gone. It's tiring talking to these spirits. I'm not very good at it yet. I can only sustain the connection for so long before I get a migraine.
Fair. Yeah, that's. I mean, it was a heroic attempt, and we got some, though it does raise some questions, namely why her family did the killing.
Yeah.
I kind of thought this was one of the places that the Loharis had looted, but
Me as well.
this
odd.
seems, if anything, weirder.
I agree with you, Rahim. And it seems like there's one person here who's not dead who might have some answers. And she turns and looks at Ranja. Was that the name that we learned?
Yeah, Ranja.
Ranja. Who's no longer crying because she calmed him, but still obviously very grief-stricken. And she goes up to him carefully. I know this must be a hard place for you to visit. And I know I haven't always been the nicest to you, but we would really, I would really appreciate some of your assistance regarding enlightening us about what happened here.
And he looks at you and says, I don't know why you picked this place of all places. Perhaps life is trying to remind me of my biggest failure.
What happened that day?
I wasn't here. I was sent away. If I was here, this would not have happened.
It's not your fault. I doubt you could have known. Did you know that she was engaged to another man?
I knew. I didn't know my family held a feast for them.
Aha. So it was your family who... And she gestures at the skeletons.
No, if you said if you are implying that they were responsible for this, they actually weren't responsible for this. They were responsible for sending me away. And to convince my beloved to even agree to a marriage, they said that this marriage was our marriage, but I was already sent away.
So your beloved thought she was marrying you, but you had been sent away?
Yes. And even more convoluted. Her mother didn't know that I was not there and tried to poison my meal, and instead poisoned the entire meal.
I see.
So one mistake after another.
Ranja, I'm very sorry for your loss. Must have been very hard for you.
As soon as I heard, I came running back, but it was already too late.
I see. I know that these kinds of wounds, wounds of love, take a long time to heal, sometimes they never do. But it has been 20, 25 some odd years now, and if it would make you feel better, I'm sure your beloved would want you to move on. Find love again.
You don't know what she wants.
Dunsley's just gonna go. You know what?
Actually,
Just talk with her ghost.
Gojin is going to sort of step in there and just rest his hand on Johnsley's shoulder and just give a brief shake of his head. Not a good time to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know what she would have wanted. I'm sorry. And she backs off, but she sort of looks at Rahim like, and like walks away.
Gojin at some point actually started brewing some green tea for everyone with his fancy tea set, and we'll serve everyone the Genmaicha tea that he had picked up at the market. It's green tea mixed with toasted brown rice.
Ooh.
So it's got a nice smoky, comforting taste to it.
Nice.
Nice. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it does.
This is what I mean when we're talking about thirst traps. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. So, Rancha just kind of holds the mug and kind of sips a little, but doesn't quite, doesn't really, the demeanor does not change, is just sort of thinking, and says, "If only I had been there, but perhaps, I mean, this was our first village before we left, so if there's anything you can find," and gestures towards the one of the bigger places, if you find something, be my guest. Just don't ask me to go in there. I said I would never step foot in their house again, and I meant to keep it.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I think with that, Rahim's going to head in and see if they can find anything on the broader case. Yeah.
Yeah. And is there anything anyone else is doing, or are you sort of heading into that house? Or the general direction?
I guess that's anyone else doing something, or
The detective stuff isn't really Gojin's thing, so he's actually just going to look for a shovel and investigate the area for a suitable place to start burying the dead.
Yeah, so there's definitely, I mean, there is the center of town. It is an abandoned village, so the center of town would be an open enough area to do exactly that.
I
And-
think Junsley's gonna help with that.
Yeah, and there's definitely implements and stuff that you can find. They're not the greatest. They have been sitting and exposed to the elements, but you can. They function. They're better than your bare hands. So it will take several hours, but you can certainly dig enough to do a shallow grave of some kind.
So, yeah, I think he's probably going to go for a wide grave and try to not stack the skeletons on top of one another. But he's going to try not to take up the entire space as he's doing it. He will also he will also take off his shirt while he does the work, and tie it around his head.
Gratuitous Gojin shirtless thirst trap.
First the tea, now
The digging a
now
mass grave thirst trap. And
most morbid.
a necessary addition to every collection.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Johnson's gonna help you with that, Gojin. She's just gonna sort of wordlessly pick up one of the other shovels that's lying around and help digging the graves.
And you see Ranja essentially turn into a large a large dog-like creature of some kind that seemed to have great big paws and starts helping you with digging. And sort of you get the sense it's like allows you to pick every other sort of bones up except for the ones he was in front of. Almost growls at you if anybody tries to get near it. Like a back off, mine.
Yeah. Okay. He just throws
yeah,
his hands
that's
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dulcie, what are you up to? Are you investigating or are you
So during the whole time, hold on, am I muted? Okay, I'm not muted. During the whole time, Dulcie actually sort of stayed away because this is their first time really seeing dead bodies. They never really saw their grandmas after she passed away, so she kind of just hung back and just let everybody else do things. And then seeing Johnsley so chill with the spirits, ease things a bit, but also it was weirding them out, and then kind of just watched them just dig up this ground to bury the bodies. They kind of just stayed quiet and stayed back, and which is unusual for them because they're very outgoing and stuff. But this is not dead things, not their element at all. So I think that once she sees Rahim running, or once they see Rahim running off to go inside, I think they're gonna follow because they don't want to be around the death.
Okay. So you enter a large, actually well built, made out of some like local earthen stone. So it's mostly the structure itself has mostly stayed intact, but a lot of the interiors, because there is a courtyard in the middle of it, has been weathered to the elements, essentially. Day beds that are made out of straw and bamboo are not particular. There's gigantic holes, and if you were to touch them, they would collapse. And any pots that had food or something have long since rotted and dried up, and a combination of all those things. Any earthenware pots that are still like properly sealed, you open it, and you would see that the water in there seems somewhat fresh, but it's been sitting there for like 25 years. The oil looks fine, but is probably incredibly rancid. And then there's preserves that you open, and they're very pungent. You're not sure whether they're safe to eat or not. Those are the things you sort of examine as you go through. And there is definitely rooms that are for bathing, rooms that look like they were a kitchen, rooms that look like quarters for people, and there is one place that looks to be a storeroom. But the contents of the storeroom we will examine next episode.
All right.
Whoa.
And with that, let's quickly go around the table in reverse order as our initial thing. So let's start with Morgan. You're muted somehow. I cannot hear you.
Yeah. Whenever you use two different things, you don't know what's what. Anywho, I'm Morgan. I play Tulsi. My pronouns are they, them, and she, her interchangeably. You can find me on all the socials at Serena Bezos. You can find my podcast, Power by the Players, which is an actual play Power by Apocalypse one-shot and mini campaigns with a rotating diverse cast. We have released Mask and Bluebeards, and we are about to release Session 0 of our Monster of the Week mini campaign. So I am very excited. You can find me this upcoming Sunday with actual play, doing our finale for Balik Bayan. I'm super excited. So yeah, you can find all that on my socials. Just be my friend and follow me. Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm Bashir Gauss, he, him. You can find me on Twitter at Bashir Gauss. You can find my games at havocfet.itch.io. You can also find me doing freelance writing for many of your favorite companies in the tabletop game industry.
Great. I believe I'm next.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. My name is Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I played Johnsley in this wonderful campaign, whose pronouns are she, her, and they, them. And you can find me on Twitter at by Connie Chong. You can also find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube at Transplanar RPG. I am the GM and executive producer behind this channel. We are an all-trans, POC-led, 100% homebrew tabletop roleplay game campaign. And episode 6 of our main campaign actually comes out this Saturday at 3 p.m. Central on Twitch at Transplanar RPG. So if that sounds interesting to you, you should give us a follow on Twitter. We're very friendly and we love always making new connections. Peace out.
And last but not least,
Hey everyone, my name is Anino. As you can see in the links there, I'm best found on Twitter under @Anino Gaming. Don't have a whole lot going on right now, but the next stream you'll find me will be on the Wandering DM channel right here on Twitch for the next episode of Cyberpunk Red. Whole lot of drama going on, so be sure to tune in for that. If you enjoy the sort of will they, won't they romance tension in your cyberpunk realities. So yeah, there's that. And then on Sunday, no, actually we are off this Sunday, so never mind that. But yeah, so you'll probably find me on my channel too every now and then, streaming games occasionally. So feel free to tune into that as well if you're interested.
yeah, and I am your guide for this evening. I am Mariam. I use they, them pronouns, and you can find me on Twitter at media_junkie. I do a lot of stuff that I'm currently blanking on at the moment, so Twitter's the best way to find out all the things I do. I guess when I'm not in this particular game, you can find me generally lurking around or producing or doing other things on this very channel. And I regret the fact that we discovered that there is a toy that was found under the radiator today, because all I can hear is the jingle jingle, which I'm not sure if the mic is picking up. And with that, we are going to raid. So if anyone wants to take over for talking random stuff while I figure that out. Oh yes, we are actually changing game roulette styming moving forward. So instead of alternating with us on Wednesdays, oh my god, I am gonna kill that cat. No, not really. I love that cat. Um, we are actually now moving to Thursdays, the same week as Kahaaniyaan. So we're gonna essentially have alternate weeks of actual plays, and then the alternate Thursday with game roulette will be ballot, which is our talk show and like our creator spotlight and panel talk show. So our next ballot will actually not be tomorrow because we're going to have game roulette. It'll be next Thursday. And then now it's game roulette and ballot alternating. So if anyone wants to talk about tomorrow's game while I find who's rating, that would be lovely.
What is tomorrow's game? I'm not aware. I haven't checked the schedule in a bit just because work stuff, and
we are rating we are rating someone that we haven't rated, and it's our first time. It is Intelligame Us, or US, I'm not sure, but they are a wonderful streamer, and they are currently streaming Undertale, so I'm going to go back and click the raid. But yes, join us for another quest RPG that Angela's gonna GM tomorrow with some lovely players. And thank you, and good night. I'm gonna move us to our transition screen.
You know, I was talking and like it did not. I have my mic mute the whole time.
Oh, that would explain a lot.
Can I all?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Goodbye, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time. Bye.